Did you know Red Bull sells more than 12 billion cans annually? That's literally more than the entire Earth population. Hi everyone, in today's episode, we're going to talk about how Red Bull built a multi-billion-dollar empire with a shoestring budget and a product that was literally labeled the worst tasting beverage in the world. Okay, let's talk about how Red Bull started. Red Bull was founded by Dietrich Mateschitz, I apologize if I butchered the name, in 1987, after he discovered a Thai energy drink called Krating Daeng. Dietrich then partnered with the drink's creator, Jalio Yvidia, to adapt the formula for people in Europe. Here's an interesting fact about Red Bull that you might not know. The two founders each invested $500,000 of their own money into the company. Today, Red Bull is worth $12 billion. Now, if my math is correct, that is a 24 million% increase on their initial investment. That's pretty good. Okay, now let's talk about Red Bull's unique branding. When the company first started, they had little to no advantage going up against Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was a company that's been around literally 100 years before Red Bull even started. Coca-Cola had unlimited money. Red Bull literally had none of the above. Matter of fact, Red Bull didn't even have taste in their favor. Red Bull actually hired a third party to taste their beverage. Apparently, this job exists for those of you who are wondering. And the independent tester tasted Red Bull and then told the founders that this was the worst drink that he had ever tasted. Talk about having absolutely no advantage or no game whatsoever. It's hard to imagine how Red Bull could compete against Coca-Cola or many of the other giants during that time. Regardless, Red Bull persisted. So how exactly did they solve this branding issue? Well, it took a number of years, but basically Red Bull decided, as a beverage company, we don't really have a lot going on for us. But what if we were to associate our drink with something different? What about supernatural powers? What about something supernatural abilities, let's say? How about drinking Red Bull gives you wings?
Red Bull gives you wings.
So Red Bull became more synonymous with medicine, potion, or just something that enhances your natural abilities rather than being a delicious beverage. This move turned out to be absolutely brilliant as it turned them into a $12 billion company. The early days of Red Bull is anything but glamorous because they had to deploy guerrilla marketing to get the products out there. The founders would go onto school campuses, look for people who looked like they were sleep deprived, and give them free samples of Red Bull. That was how they got the word out. Now let's dive into their marketing strategy. Red Bull's marketing strategy had to be revolutionary because keep in mind, their nearest competitor, Coca-Cola, had 100 years head start and unlimited money. So in order to compete, they had no choice but to innovate and create something unique. Red Bull doesn't sell just a beverage, they sell a lifestyle, a potion, something magical. Whether it was extreme sports or music festival, Red Bull was there, available, and presenting themselves as very much part of the youth culture. So let's break down some of their numbers. Red Bull hosts over 500 events every single year, including the iconic Red Bull Air Race, the Red Bull Rampage, and in 2012, Red Bull only spent $300 million on marketing, and that's compared to Coca-Cola's $4 billion. And that just gives you an idea of how efficient Red Bull had to be in order to compete. Now get this, Red Bull actually sponsors over 800 athletes from motocross all the way to esports. Anything that is associated with high adrenaline and pushing the limits, Red Bull wanted to be front and center. Now here's where Red Bull completely dominated every single competitor in their space, and that is content marketing. Now let me ask you a question. When was the last time you saw a video from Coca-Cola that was not an advertisement? Exactly, can't even tell you. Now the last time you saw a Red Bull video, there's a good chance it's got something to do with diving out of space, right? You see my point? Actually, let's take a look at their YouTube channel. Coca-Cola currently have 4.4 million subscribers. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, if you scroll through their channel, you notice that they don't really make content. They just make ads. A lot of these videos are like 11 seconds, 22 seconds. These aren't content. This is just advertisement. Now, let's head over to Red Bull's YouTube channel. Okay, they got 17.5 million subscribers. I mean, that's literally over 4 times the subscribers than Coca-Cola. But what's interesting is that most of Red Bull's content, they're, for 18 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes. These are actual engaging and entertaining content that you would actually watch. Some of the videos have 21 million, 15 million, 2.8 million views. That's pretty good, and that's a very different strategy than what Coca-Cola opted to do. Now, of course, Coca-Cola, they have all the money in the world, and so they opt to spend a lot of money on advertising, sponsoring events, sponsoring the World Cup to get in front of you. Red Bull had to be smarter, and their content strategy allowed them to do just that. By creating compelling, interesting, and just over-the-top content, they're able to get in front of you without having to pay the top dollars that Coca-Cola had to pay. Remember the event with a guy named Felix jumping from the edge of space back in 2012? That event alone gained over 50 million views. That's equivalent to 500 million in marketing value. Additionally, Red Bull also has a magazine called the Red Bulletin where they're able to reach over 5 million readers every single month. All these content strategies simply tells us that Red Bull knows how to play the game in a unique way, and they know how to position themselves in front of the target audience without having to spend massive amounts of advertising budget. And that is how Red Bull is able to sell over 12 billion cans every single year while competing with all the biggest players in the space and spending just a fraction of everyone else's budget. But Red Bull isn't stopping there. They're constantly innovating and investing. For instance, they've recently launched organic sodas and even partnered with tech companies to just explore more on how tech and AI can help them develop and innovate even more unique products. And their investment arm, Red Bull Venture, is constantly looking out for the next big thing to help keep their brand fresh and alive. With an ever-growing portfolio, Red Bull has become much larger than just simply a beverage company. Similar to Coca-Cola, Red Bull has now become a media company that is shaping the future of entertainment and lifestyle. So, there you have it, folks. From humble beginnings to a global powerhouse, the marketing strategy that turned Red Bull into the company that it is today. Hopefully, you learned something new today. And if you did, please make sure to like this video and leave a comment. I would love to hear what you think of Red Bull's marketing strategy. And if I missed something, please also let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video or find value in the content that I'm sharing with you, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon below, so that way when I release another video deep diving into a company, you're going to be notified. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.